Okay. Miss Jensen, I can take you at 30. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming back. Last time we were together, we talked about your 3 goals from SquadUp. That was about 2 months ago.
That
How's it
went by
been?
really fast.
It did. It went super fast. It's like, what happened? Where did the time go?
Right? I was like, wait, what were my goals again? Oh, I went back and looked at them and I was like, okay, I actually did pretty good.
Okay. That's, you know what? That right there is a good point, right? Like if you don't have them like in front of you, sometimes it can be hard to keep track of what they were to begin with.
Yeah.
So it helps. I can totally relate to that because I have not had mine in front of me either. So
One of yours was to start a podcast.
yes, that one I have been working diligently on. I think every week I've had at least one podcast. So I am super happy to report back because I think you put out a challenge there at me on our last one. The data shows that most people who have podcasts don't get over the 20 podcast mark. Is that correct? Did I remember?
Close to 4 million people start a podcast every year, and only 20% make it past episode 3.
Okay.
And only 1% of that 20 make it past 20.
I'm in the 1%.
How is that 1%? If you can hit 20 or 21, you are in the 1% club.
I am over 21, I believe. I think I'm like mid 20s. I believe. Yes. So I can check that off, but my work is not done yet because this podcast isn't going anywhere. I'm working on continuing to be consistent, talking about all kinds of things. I've had a lot of videos on pad splits because that's my thing. Yes, co-living and pad splits. So done a lot of podcasts on co-living and pad splits, in addition to meeting with a lot of people that I met with at SquadUp. And to circle back to you, I love how you turned that around on me. That was so good. So good. I could just talk all day, but this is about you today for the next 30-ish minutes. And you had your 3 goals. You got your sheet out. You said you did pretty good. One of them was on getting people to know who you are. How did that go? You had some specific actions in mind that you were going to take. How is it going?
It's not what you know, but who you know. It's not who you know, but who knows you.
Yes.
And that was what my goal was based around. And later in the episode, I'm going to tell you the line that comes after that one.
Ooh.
I know, a sequel to.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
My mantra has shifted again.
Ooh, okay. That was going to be my question. Like, as you've pursued these goals and taken these actions, have you had to modify in some way?
Yes. So the first one, some of the actions I was taking on having people know me was to be on a podcast once a week.
Yes.
And I have done that. I have been on plenty of podcasts.
Nice.
And it's definitely starting to pay off. It's some of those things like the compound effect where you're not going to have a lot of listeners early on. You're not going to have a lot of followers, but as long as you're getting a few, the compound will start to happen. And so the thing with that is I don't always see the progress I'm making because you can't gauge how many people are listening.
True.
How many people really are hearing me?
Yeah.
Well, I know that it's working because people have reached out to me and have said, I've heard you on multiple podcasts. Oh, I've seen you've been doing a lot of podcasts lately. So when I have them, I'll post about it or I'll put a video. And then when it records, both parties will promote it. So the podcast has been doing really well. Now we're going to have to transition and start my own.
Ooh, yes. You had mentioned that you could do that, but you would have a lot of the same audience, and you really wanted to harness the power of being on other people's podcasts. So you still now want to do your own podcast then?
Yes, it was kind of structured. I was like, I want to figure out the order. First, I'm just going to start getting my story out there, telling people. The more people that hear about me on other podcasts, they're going to go search for me. Now they're going to look for me. And now I'm going to have people that are wanting substance. So one of those things that I learned was, people really want to learn from you. Once your phone, you watch things vertically, but you've made it when people start watching you horizontally. That means they found you on YouTube. And they're going to watch more than a 60-second reel that's entertaining. They want to learn something from you. Yeah. So that's where my transition is happening on, okay, I'm getting my name out there. People are hearing about me. Now I want to step into the content space and YouTube where I can actually educate and teach, not just trying to get my name out there. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what actions are you taking towards that end?
It's not what you know, but who you know. So I've just been hiring a lot of the right people. I have someone that oversees my LinkedIn and growing my following there and posting for me regularly. I have a funnel team that we're creating a funnel. So I'm going to have a course on raising capital. And so I have a videographer that's going to help me. We're literally this last week, we were game planning. What is my content going to be? How are we going to structure that? I have the team that's going to help funnel the leads, where they go. And like the back end side, I started doing investor dinners. Nice. And so I have like a videographer that comes and will film me. And then we send it to the media team and they chop it all up. So it's a hot mess right now, but you have to be taking actions and creating the problems. Problems are good. You just have to go create them so then you know how to fix them. Exactly. And as soon as you fix them, it turns into a bigger problem, something else. So it's learning how to solve them. And right now it's just been finding the people that are already really good at that space. Right. Yeah. And last week I am in Pace Morby's Owners Club. Nice. And I met with someone that follows him that does some of his video content is someone that I'm going to be working with. Cool. Okay. And there was this kind of aha moment where I work for a fund. They find all of the deals, the underwriting, the mobile home parks. The key thing for me is raising capital. I'm going to find the money. A woman came to me and she said, I want to get in multifamily, but I also need to raise capital. And I said, do you want to get in multifamily or do you want to raise capital? And I said, you're going to need to pick one and then find someone that can do the latter. Okay. And then I realized there's one more key component that I think is just as important as the deal and the money. And I think it's media. I think it's the content. I think it's what it depends. Yeah. If you want to grow your business 2x, just do twice as much work. Yeah. If you want to 10x your business, bring on other people that can help do it with you. Yeah. If you want to 1000x your business, you have to clone yourself and people learning about you without anyone having to talk, just rewatching the same videos. Yes. Yes. I have found that in the last couple of months that I've had people reach out with some different questions. And because I've been doing the podcast talking about pad splits and co-living, I can share the video. I can say, okay, right here, here's my podcast where I talk about all of that. And then that way, when we have a conversation,
it's going to be on something I haven't already covered, hopefully too.
Yeah.
Right. So it's already doing the work for me because I can have them watching the videos and then they can watch it over and over again if they need to.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
yes,
Exactly.
the videos. Okay, awesome. Now you mentioned you were doing the dinners. There was you were going to do something else. There
A
was
webinar.
the webinar. That's right. Yes. How's that going?
I have not got to the webinar
Okay.
yet because I started the investor dinners, and that consists of mailing out thousands of invites,
Mm,
running leads to people who are accredited investors, and setting up the location of where the dinner will be, the making sure the equipment's set up,
yeah.
the RSVP. I'm on calls with people that are interested in coming to the dinner. And once I have that system in place, which I'm getting a lot of the kinks figured out, we're also in the process this week of hiring someone who can take over the entire portion of setting up the dinners. And I'll
Mm,
get to the point where I can just show up,
yes.
present, close, and sign off.
Yeah.
And then from there, it'll be like, okay, now I want to start doing the webinars. And once I build that out, it'll be the same thing. I'll hire someone else to come on and be like, get the people on the webinar, advertise for it, get it set up. You just send me the link on where I need to click and show my face and do the presentation. So baby steps.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes. Bet you're making progress.
I'm definitely making progress. And what's crazy is in Owners Club, we have it's kind of like the Facebook group page, but it's just for the owners. It's like another platform. And every day we need to do a daily journal entry and just kind of bullet point different areas of it in your life of things you've accomplished that day.
Yeah.
Well, my goal is to get on there once a week and just do bullet points for each day of the week. I'm like, look, I'm doing pretty good if I give you a nutshell of my whole week. And yesterday I went down and I started writing down the bullet points and I was like, whoa, I made some really big strides with like the calls I made and the things I did.
Yeah.
Even though today it didn't seem like that much, but today I hired a VA. We found someone who wants a different person that wants to be our operating manager for all of our parks, and a different guy that's like, hey, I have foreign investors and I want you to be the one that presents these deals to them, and a podcast. And I was like, okay, it's noon and making strides every day.
Right. Right. Yes. Okay. So that was your first goal. Your second goal, you talked about being the guide, not just for investors, but capital raisers.
Yes. And bringing on people to join Sonos Capital. When I joined Sonos Capital, it was the owner, and then I was the second one to come in place. Okay. Since then, I have helped find a underwriter and 5 other people to raise capital, along with 3 other people that are 5 people that are actually in the pipeline on potentially getting hired. So by the end of the year, I should say by the end of next month, I'll have 10 people raising capital for me.
And I think that was your goal, right? You wanted the 10.
I wanted 10, and I will have it much sooner than December.
Yay! You might even have to go bigger by December.
Well, here's the thing. I would, but when you become someone that raises capital, you can't just pay someone commissions. So these people are getting put on a salary. Okay. But they're also going out and raising capital and talking to investors. And so one of their roles is to close the deal. But bringing on 10 people on salaries, costs money.
It does. It does. So, okay. So you're on track to get your 10 by next month. Mm-hmm. And I think you were doing calls with them. You'd already set up some onboarding. How's that part going? Have you had to tweak any of that as you go?
Totally. The key thing is we brought on someone else, not the capital raisers, to create the systems. So he's really good at setting up our CRM. And I created an onboarding process. So there's these emails once a week. I send an email and it has everything they need to work on that week. Okay, you need to do a 3-day boot camp on strictly learning the ins and outs of mobile home parks. You need to go through, you need a headshot. We need a bio. We need someone to come film some content of you. Learning our software program, reading our PPM. And so I have those things laid out. Now I've given all that information to the gentleman that we hired to create the system. And now I want, when someone joins our company, to have that program in place where it's like, here, go talk to Brian. Brian's going to help you go through the platform and check off all the boxes of what you need to learn. And then from there, I'm monetizing some trainings. And so some one-on-one training, but also I'd love to have some content where it's like, go watch these 3 or 4 videos, and then let's set up a time to connect.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm watching the videos. I think that kind of leads into your goal number 3.
Clone.
Yes. Creating the clones.
Yep. And that comes down to, I've personally just been doing it myself a little bit, trial and error on social media, where it's like, they just say post content. So I'm just like posting, whatever. But the more people I'm around that are good at it, I'm like, just model what they're doing. And then Pace brought someone to the Owners Club, and she has 1 billion views a month on her content.
Good Lord. And it's not an OnlyFans. I just want to clarify.
Someone was like, Jill, it's your doppelganger. They thought it was me up there from way far back. And I was like, oh, what a compliment. That means if you think I look like her, that means I can do this.
Yes.
But she gave us this formula, and it's totally backwards from what people would think on getting people to watch the views.
Okay.
I'll pull it up and tell you. I'll tell you what it said.
Awesome.
She said, first, you have to hook people. And how you hook people on these short videos is combining 2 things that you normally wouldn't see together. Why are people wanting to watch this? And she's like, a lot of people think I deal with silly things, but you can aim it towards anything. Okay. And so let's just give the example of, let's buy some fake money off of Amazon, like a $20 bill, and then let's just light it on fire. And people are gonna be like, why are you burning money? Or like, if you watch me like flush money down a toilet or something, it's like, that's the hook. Okay, we're dealing with money. And then what's the suspense? You have to keep the suspense until the very end. People get on there and they tell them in the beginning why they're making this video. And guess what? They only watch the first couple of seconds. But if you just make the whole thing suspenseful and you're waiting till the very end, the algorithm likes when people watch your entire video.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. So there's the hook, the suspense, the payout, the engagement tactics, something that's rising, and then the testing at the very end. And like, so I went and looked at one of her videos, and she did like the silly thing with like the hot sauce bottles behind the box. And then one of them had Coke, but she's on the other side and she couldn't see. And there's all these straws, and she's like drinking out of one. They're all Coke, and only one is hot sauce. I think I said it backwards.
Okay.
And so her and her sister are going back and forth, seeing who's going to pick the one that has the hot sauce. Every time they drink one that has Coke, someone takes it out and puts the hot sauce bottle. So it's like, who's going to drink the hot sauce bottle first? And of course, they make you wait till the very last one because they just want you to watch the whole video. Like, you know, and so I was like, okay, I was observing. I went on her page to observe what she taught.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, now I can kind of see her. Anyways, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but learning some of the ways of how other people are doing it. So once again, I'm like, okay, who's really good at this? Okay, I'm hiring
Right.
Pace's guy that does content.
Yes.
I'm going to this mastermind with a girl and I'm learning her process and formula. And then I'm taking that. The guy that was Pace's videographer guy that I'm going to use, he was in that training. So
Oh,
he's hearing the things that I'm learning. And I'm like, okay, how do we implement what she's talking about?
yeah.
And so just a lot of connecting, making lots of friends.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that little tidbit there, because I know there's going to be people watching thinking the same thing. They're putting out what they're going to be talking about right at the beginning, not creating that suspense to hold it to the end. But I'm curious, that's a lot of things to check off. How long are these videos or reels or shorts then? Is she still
60
keeping it?
seconds. Even though there's a lot of into it, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you talk about all of those things.
Yeah.
The hook can just be 3 seconds of someone burning a dollar
Yeah.
bill. That's the
True.
hook. There's no words behind it. You can make
Right.
all these videos with no words.
Right. Okay. 60
Mm.
seconds, a lot in 60 seconds. Okay, cool. Well, so you've tweaked some things, you've had to modify some things. What do you think was like the biggest shift in your goals over the last couple of months that you
I'm
had to
going to
take?
bring in the last line that I started with.
Okay.
So I've lived by who, not how.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to figure out how to do this. And then it's not who you know, but who knows you.
Yes.
And then it comes down, who can do it for me? How
Ooh.
fast can I get out of the position or the tasks or the things that I'm doing? How fast can I delegate this to someone else?
Right.
What am I doing every day that takes up my time? And what are those things that are actually producing money? The things
Yes.
that are actually producing money that still have to be done or accomplished, how much does it cost me to do it? Or how much does it cost a VA to do it? And
Right.
so this morning, literally, I finally found the VA that I'm going to work with. That's been like a process. And so I'm like, ask me what my goals are after that. Cause I'm going to be like, someone else responds to my emails. I don't know. Well, what do I do during the day? Here's the thing. My friend, I was telling him, I'm like, I'm going to have so much more time, like game planning, like business ideas. And he's like,
Mhm.
no, that's not the point. It's so that you can have time to go
Yeah.
with your kids and have time to not do anything, but still accomplishing the same amount you were when you were working 6 hours a day. And he's like, do you always want to work 6 hours a day? Or do you like, are you trying to not have to work so much? And that kind of was like eye-opening because I
Yeah.
just am this natural personality of, oh, I could be doing more. And he's like, is life always about doing more? I'm like, no,
Right.
not while my kids are little.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, that reminds me of Focal Point, I think by Brian Tracy. I had listened to that last year and I'm re-listening to it, and this time I'm taking notes, and exactly what he's talking about, people who want to have more time off, go do the things that you really want to do, spend the time with your family, and the time that you actually are working, it's the most productive use of your time. And
Yeah.
so you are able to do more because you're putting your time, your energy, everything towards the things that are the high value type of tasks that only you can do. Everything else, you should be looking at it from that zero based thinking, I think he called it, where you say, if I was not doing this task already, would I start it up now?
Yeah.
Is there a way, can I delegate it? Which, there's buy back your time. Dan Martell says the same thing. Can I delegate this task? Does it even have to be done anymore? Is there a more efficient way to do this task? And if you approach every task that way, you start to find that all of those things that you've been doing, that you've been spending your time on, not even difficult things, not even necessarily time consuming things, but it's still taking your time that somebody else could do while you focus your energy on the high value things only you can do. Then you feel happier, you feel fulfilled. Exactly. Yes.
And the things that you're good at, you're gonna show up better.
Yes.
Because that's what you're focused on.
Exactly.
And it's like, I just want to do what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And delegate the others.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for coming back and sharing your goals and where you've landed now in 60 days. It flew by, and you've made so much progress, adding another layer to that. So it's who, not how, but then
not who you know, but who knows you.
Right.
And then who can do it for you.
Yes. I think that's a great way to end this podcast.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Mic drop. Exactly. We'll leave you with that little tidbit. Thank you for joining me. And maybe in your free time, we can hop back on, like maybe every quarter or every few months or so, something. See where you're at. I'd love to keep in touch and see how you're progressing in your journey.
That would be awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Take care. Awesome.